Hi guys and welcome to my book room. As you can tell, it looks very different than the last time because we've moved houses since then. And actually a lot has happened since then because that was forever ago. I can do a more in-depth tour another time because things have moved. But we do still need to get another shelf because these new covers of Percy Jackson here, they're the Nerdy Ink, I think it's what it's called. And we just bought the dust jackets for the second series in the Percy Jackson, and they are supposed to come in like September sometime. So once we get those need like a whole shelf to themselves. And then we also need our Harry Potter to get a whole shelf, which is this big shelf right here. But we have a bunch of Harry Potter Legos, but we are out of room, so we need to get another bookshelf. My book cart is here because we're about to do a little TBR action. I have this book, The Grandest Games, which I just finished today, and let me tell you, I liked it. I say that every time. Every time I review a book, I'm like, I liked it. It was good. But I actually did like this a lot because I just like her writing and I like riddles and stuff, and it just makes it fun. But the ending obviously had a little twist to it, so I'm kind of sad that I can't just hop right into the next book, which is the only positive to not reading books as they come out. Because if I didn't find this series, like if I found the Inheritance Game series right now, I could binge the whole thing and wouldn't have to stop. But I think the next one comes out next summer, maybe. I'm not really sure. Actually, it says it in here. Summer 2025, Glorious Rivals. But I definitely recommend her books to anyone who likes like mystery, not like murder mystery, but like mystery and riddles and stuff like that because it's fun to read, it's fun to figure out. They're in a game competition where there's a bunch of riddles and stuff. So like the whole thing is a game, which is why it's called The Grandest Game. But I think give it 4 stars. I've been giving books 4 stars a lot recently just because that's what I'm feeling. They're all 4 stars. They're all great. They're not like all great, but they're not bad. But I did listen to this on audiobook too because I use Spotify sometimes while I'm driving to do audiobooks. But you run out of listening hours so fast. I don't know how much you get, but it's really not that much at all. And I've also been reading Archenemies, which this looks so small. I didn't know it was this small. I've been reading this book on Libby, and I'm on like chapter 26 or something. So I'm like over 50%. I'm probably like around here. So I only have this much left. And I like this. We read this together, me and a couple of friends. So we were going to do like a book club thing, but then we started reading at different intervals, and they have both finished said book, and I need to finish it. So I've been listening to the audiobook of this. The series started really slow, and we were all going to DNF it, but we didn't. We just pushed through. And I'm actually glad we did because I like the world that it's in. And it was a fun read. And I do really like the audiobook. I'm reading this right now, but I've called you here today because I need to pick another book because I cannot just be reading one book at a time because that would be so silly. So we finished The Grandest Game. I think we're on book 22 or something of the year, which means I don't know if I'm going to hit my goal of 50 books, but we're going to try. We're going to pick another book from these little lovely shelves over here, or maybe this book card over here. And to do that, TBR jar. So me and Cameron went through all of my books probably like a couple weeks ago, like probably a month ago now, to figure things out, because I kind of have a lot of books. So like from here over, and the book cart is all mine, and these books, apart from the Percy Jackson series, are all Cameron's because we both read the Percy Jackson series, so that's kind of both of ours. But Cameron has one small skinny shelf, and I have like 4 shelves of books. And the issue with that is that I have not read 4 shelves of books. I have read this one shelf over here has been read, and some of this shelf, but the majority of it has not been read. And the issue was that I tend to spend money, and that doesn't work well with the whole budget having situation. So I'm not supposed to spend any money on books. We do have like allotted personal money, but I'm just having too many books that I am not reading, and I need to get through my physical TBR instead of just having a million books that I have never read. So we went through and added all the books into this jar. We added all of the books or the next book in the series that I'm reading, or just the first book in the series. And some books, I think there was some that I left out, but I don't remember which ones they were. But I'm gonna draw one right now to pick. Another book that's not in this, but I'm not gonna read it right now, is On Writing by Stephen King, because I just got this for my birthday from my sister, so that's so fun. A memoir on his writing, so I do want to read that eventually, but it's just not in the jar. So I'm gonna pick one right now and hope it's not a book that I do not want to read right now. I really want to read Keeper of the Lost Cities because I read the first two books of that and I really liked it. And I just saw that. I just drew one on accident while I was talking and I wasn't paying attention and I opened it a little bit and I saw what it said and it may have accidentally fell back in the jar because I don't want to read that. See, this is cheating. I'm gonna pick two out and then I'm gonna pick one of the two to read next because I don't want to pick like a lot of people pick like their next 7 books by digging in the jar, but I just can't do that because I need more excitement than that. So the first name, the first title we have is Float. Okay, Float is this book. This book could be fun. This is like a Wattpad book, but she wrote like half of it when she was a teenager and then finished the second half like when she was older. And I honestly don't even know what this is about. Looks like she moves from what is AK? It's not Alaska, but that looks like Alaska. Let's see. It is Alaska. It looks like she's moving from Alaska to Florida, or maybe going on a trip or something. But this is option one. Option two. I don't know if I'm in the mood to read that. Option two, we have Firekeeper's Daughter. Okay. So that's a book that I do own. Um, at the moment. It's a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. Looks like I got it for $6. We may draw 3. I don't really like this. Just seems like it has a lot of pages in it for me right now. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna slide that back in there, and then I'm gonna fold this back up and act like that didn't just happen. Our second book, guys. Um, Warrior of the Wild. Actually, that's not a terrible pick because it's by my girl Teresa Levenseller, and she's actually my favorite author of all time. And somehow, this is the only book of hers that I have not read. So let me grab it. Um, okay. Oh, you can see my striped pants. Okay, this is it. This is Warrior of the Wild. This has been out for a while, but I actually just recently got it, probably a couple months ago. Because I couldn't find the hardcover. But I wanted to show you. I also got this book a couple months ago because the day it came out, I was texting Kim's family to see if they were in town to grab it, and his mom was in town, and she grabbed it for me. And look at it, it's so pretty. But this is the second book to The Shadows Within Us. No, The Shadows Between Us, and this is The Darkness Within Us. This is like a special cover because it's pink, spray edges, cute, cutesy. And then also the map in here is like so pretty. It's purple. I think it's adorable. But I actually love this book. I just really like her writing. It's so fun. But I just wanted to show you all that book because it's so pretty. But I did read that a couple months ago. Maybe whenever it came out, I read it. And I really liked it. It's not like... It's fantasy, but it's not fantasy. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It is kind of fantasy, but very few people in the world have superpowers. Not superpowers, but like abilities to make it fantasy. So it's not really fantasy, but it's very like olden timed and there is some magic to it. But it's not magic, but it is magic. But yeah. So these are the 2 books we have. Warrior of the Wild and Flute. I think you can tell which way I'm leaning towards this way. And so I think I'm gonna read this one next. Also, Teresa Levenseller's book, um, The Blade of Secrets is so good. If you haven't read that, you should read that. Also, Daughter of the Pirate King. If you haven't read that, you should read that. Basically, if you have not read any of her books, you need to stop what you're doing right now and go read them because I love them. So I'm gonna keep reading this book, Archenemies, and then I'm gonna start this book, Warrior of the Wild. But let me just draw one more time, just to see what I would have gotten. You know, this isn't real. I'm not gonna actually read this book, but like, there's possibilities, right? And the possibility would have been Home Sweet Christmas. I already read this book. That's trash. So basically, just knocked one book down. No, I'm just kidding. The plan was that I have to finish half of these books, so half of this drawer, or majority of my standalone books before I could buy any more books. Renegades! I just read this, so I can take it out. And I'm going to go read like I was gonna do when I started this video. So, bye. I'm here to cry. I just finished this book. This book. Just finished it. I probably should have given some time to think. But I was reading this in the bed and Cameron's watching a movie and I had like 3 chapters left and I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. Like I can't read this anymore because I said it because it was bad and Cameron was like, no, it's good. That's why you don't want to read it because you don't want whatever is happening to happen, which means it's a good book. And that is true. But I'm just so hurt right now. So I cannot say that it was probably a 5-star book. I don't know. The first book was not this hard hitting because we were building up, you know. But I am crushed and so sad. Now I have to start the next book. So I finished, and Cameron was like, "Are you done?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm done." And he was like, "Go grab the next one." Um. So now I'm about to read this. I literally want to cry right now. It was like I can't even. Like, I don't like what happened, but also if the opposite happened, I wouldn't have liked that either because, like, no matter what, somebody is being betrayed. This is gonna be a spoiler section. This is my dog. My doggy dog. Did you like the book? I don't know if she liked the book. Okay, go. Go. I didn't want her. Okay, I wanted her to stop trying to help Ace. I wanted her to just become a renegade, stay a renegade. Also, I said that, and then in our like group chat with 2 of my friends, that we all just read the book, and one of them was like, "Well, the renegades have stuff to work on too," and yes, that is true. The renegades do have stuff to work on, but I feel like Adrian actually loves her, and like the renegades actually care about her, and like Ace maybe cares about her, but like the other ones, like they turn on people so fast, like they didn't even care that what's her name died, the bomb girl. Like, would they care if Noah died? Like, would they? We don't know. But you know who would care? The Renegades. The Renegades would definitely care a lot. They would care a lot, I think. It's so crazy that this is like, now back to the not spoilers, but it's so crazy that this is like, when I was reading this, I felt like I was like watching TV or something, and I really, 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 really want this to be turned into anime. Not a live action movie, but anime, because I think it would be so good. It'd be such a good cartoon. And I really want to see that. So can someone please do that for me? Just for me. That'd be nice. But I'm gonna start the next one. And I don't know if we're gonna think about those other 2 books that I said I was gonna read that I want to read because I'm currently mind blown and I cannot function. And I need to see if I can get the audiobook on this on Libby because I've been listening to the audiobook of this one on Libby while I'm like cleaning or reading or anything. And what? Cleaning or driving because I've been listening to it while I drive to school. And I'm just so honestly, I haven't had this feeling from reading a book in so long. So, like, I've been reading a lot of decent books. Like, they're not like amazing, but they're like decent. And I feel like that probably means that this is a 5-star book because everything else I've been reading 4 stars, but I'm just my soul is crushed. And if this book doesn't start off, I was a little disappointed because the last book didn't start off like right where Renegades ended. And so I was kind of sad about it because we had to take some time to get back into it. But if this book doesn't start back off where we just left off, where Mr. Can't say that, but I need to know. Okay, it looks like it starts back off sort of where we left. So I'll keep you updated as I finish this book or the other books. But I want to cry. I am back with an update. I have finished this book. I came to you last time because I finished this book and I mentioned, wanting to cry. Turns out I still want to cry. I want to bawl my eyes out so hard, but for different reasons this time. So I'm going to give the spoiler version before I give the non spoiler version so I can get my thoughts off my chest before I try to not spoil it. So here are the spoilers. Skip to this number if you don't want spoilers. So I'm reading this book, right? Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Because in the last book, as you remember, I was like, Nova, can we just be good? Like, just stick with the renegades. You do not need to be an anarchist. Like, be renegade. Obviously, they have better values, than these anarchists over here who are just killing people just to kill people, right? I see why she's upset about this because obviously her uncle, so you would want to be on the side with your family, but turns out her uncle's a terrible person because actually her uncle killed her family. First, he's so mean for that. It means probably not even the most offensive thing I can say, but that blew my mind that he killed them, but also didn't blow my mind at the same time. And then also, the ending is wild. The supernova thing, it was like almost a little bit too far fetched, but then also not. Because I was like, the whole time. So I was not liking this book at all because the whole time through it, I was like, Nova, just switch sides. Just switch sides. It's so easy. Just be a renegade. You literally are a renegade. I feel like it's so obvious to everyone except for her because she doesn't want to turn on her family or whatever. But basically the whole time I was like, Nova, are you serious? And I thought she was gonna start killing people when they started hurting Adrian. But then no, she just let Honey do it. But then when Honey was like, kill the boy, that's when she was finally like, okay, fine, I will kill someone. And, I understand that because she didn't want to turn on her family, as we mentioned. But they were not good guys, They weren't good guys over there. Nova not using the star herself to stop Ace blew my mind because that's what I was expecting. And I was like, Nova, use the star. The whole time. I'm just like, Nova, use the star. Use the star. She didn't listen to me. She didn't use the star. Next thing that I did not see coming was Max. So it makes sense that he would put the world back together because, like, during the teleportation fiasco. But why? I don't know. Like, why was he the only one that ended up without power? That makes sense because the way they did it. And also, when everyone was losing power, when so many people lost power, I was like, okay, they're going to figure out a way to get their powers back because obviously, because they wouldn't know how to live their life if they didn't have any powers. So the whole time I was like, they're definitely going to figure out a way to get them back, but I wasn't thinking that it was just going to be the end of the book. Like, Max was going to give it back. Obviously, it was not that simple. But I don't like everyone having superpowers. I didn't like how long it took her to switch sides for good. But also, I loved the book and I was eating it up every second of it. I was just like, Nova, come on. Nova, sweetie, 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 your boyfriend. Help him. Oh, the phobia thing, that, it was wild, but not wild at the same time. Because, like, you kind of saw it coming, but also at the same time, I didn't expect Adrian to take away his power to be able to stop it. But it was pretty clever. Pretty, selfless of him to do that. Non spoilers. Now, this book, remember I mentioned that I was like, it's kind of thick. I'm a little bit worried about how the story will go. It's good thick. It's a good thickness. It wasn't slow for me at any point. I also listened to the audiobook like majority of the time through this because I was listening to it on 2 times speed, and I was always doing something like driving or in my classroom, which I could read it in my classroom, but it's harder to focus. So basically, I read majority of the audiobook. So now that I'm finished with this series, I looked it up, and she said that she does not plan on writing, or she doesn't have like a solid plan on writing another book for this series or for a spinoff, which was mentioned in the epilogue. Which the epilogue, I I had feelings for the epilogue. In the epilogue, they set it up to where there could be another series or another book or a spinoff or something. But I just looked it up, and she said that she didn't have any solid plans to do so, and that she did leave it open in the epilogue to do so, but she doesn't know if she'll be able to because she has a lot more awesome stories to write. So my heart is broken because of that. But I have heard about the Lunar Chronicles. It's written on this, which is why I'm picking it up. But I have heard about that before. I think one of my friends have told me about it before. But I feel like I should go read that now. I think the Lunar Chronicles are all like retellings of Disney stories. Is that right? I have no idea. But I want to go read them now because now I feel like she's a good author. And I would have never known this if Chloe did not get these for me for my birthday. It wasn't my birthday, for Christmas. And I'm so glad I picked this up when I did because if I didn't, I wouldn't have it right now, which is obvious. But nonetheless, I finished the book. It was good. And I liked it. I'm just going to say that every single time because that's what I say every time. So this week's video comes to an end, and I will keep you updated on whatever book I read next, and if it's any better than Renegades, which it probably won't be because that was great. I also need to go through and stamp all my books. I have a stamp here. I have this stamp, which I need to stamp all my books with that I've already read, and I haven't done that. So